Greta Gerwig's Barbie is finally here, and despite universal acclaim and making a whole bunch of money at the box office, there were some people who just weren't as enthused about it. So let's check in on some of the half-star reviews, see what these people are saying, and maybe even answer a couple of their good faith criticisms. I'm sure all of their criticisms are in good faith.
It is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh god, this is gonna be terrible. Also, do you like my lights? I have lights now. It's pretty good. It's pretty great. You know it's going to be a great movie when the whole premise is that men are evil because they like horses and mini fridges. And right off the bat, we've got one that wholly misses the mark. This film is obviously not about how men are evil because they like horses and mini fridges. The film is very clear in pointing out how things like horses and mini fridges are just symbols that people who are invested in continuing the patriarchy latch onto as a way of perpetuating that patriarchy. Ken is very clear when he says in the film that he likes horses despite the fact that they have nothing to do with patriarchy. So his love for horses is not born out of that oppressive system. But I guess expecting even a baseline understanding of the film was a bit too much from this particular so-and-so. Greta Gerwig, more like Greta get a wig cause you've got breast cancer, hashtag girl power, I love feminists. This is an awful review. This is an awful thing to say about someone. And I think this person should be ashamed of themselves if they are in fact capable of feeling shame. Propaganda, the movie. Hands up if, like me, you just realize that the word pagan is just sitting right there in the middle of propaganda. That's actually kinda cool. Nothing like woke propaganda for 2 hours straight. Absolute garbage. Hey look everyone, we found the secret letterboxd account for Ron DeSantis. I wonder what kind of legislation he's going to pass in order to make sure that the Barbie movie can't be shown in Florida theaters. This movie is everything wrong with the world at the moment. Are you sure? Because this film was the one half of the Barbenheimer double feature that had nothing to do with nuclear weapons. This movie's purpose is to tear down men and make men seem like the bad guys at every opportunity. No, that's just your reading of it because that's what you desperately need to see in a film like this. You can't understand the actual message that this film is going for, which is men's liberation from the patriarchy. I'm tired of the women are so oppressed and men ruin everything culture we currently live in. Have you ever considered trying changing that culture so you no longer have to live in it? If you are thinking about seeing this movie, I would highly recommend you don't. And just to counteract this person entirely, I recommend that you do go see the Barbie movie. This movie is nothing short of divisive propaganda that seeks to portray men in a negative manner and women as oppressed. Imagine calling a film divisive propaganda when all it wants to do is create a new and better world for all of us to live in, free from oppression. I get the odd feeling that I wasn't the target audience for this movie. And I get the odd feeling that a lot of you who are watching aren't subscribed, because I have data to back that up. I couldn't connect with this movie. Did you have your Bluetooth on? Oh, wait. Did you try turning it off and on again? I hear that one works really well. Is there anyone in the comments who can provide some IT help for this person? Someone tell me they saw anything new. Yes, actually, there are many things in this film that I have never seen before, like every single shade of the color pink. I hated this movie, but I loved hanging with my pal Jordan. I don't know who Jordan is, but I'm just glad you were able to have a good time with them. Worst movie of the year. And guess what, fellow letterboxd user? I can travel back in time and see every film that you've watched from 2023, and I can see that you have seen Cocaine Bear, which is objectively a far worse movie than Barbie. Objectively. This movie is a total woke garbage and a waste of time. I don't know why people comparing it to Oppenheimer. There's no room for comparison. Do not watch this movie. And actually, I think there's plenty of room for comparison. I think that the way that both films represent and try to approach the direction that humanity is going in is fascinating, especially because both of the films open side by each on the same weekend. I remember when I got out of Oppenheimer, I remember walking around and saying to myself, wow, all of these humans around me are garbage and are at least somewhat responsible for the political situation that we are all in. And yet, when I left Barbie, I kept thinking to myself, whoa, look at all of these beautiful people. Everyone is beautiful. I love humanity. We have so much possible potential. So yeah, I do think there's room to actually compare these films, but only if you're not an anti-woke bigot. How can a film about patriarchy fail to give a clear message in the 21st century? So here's the thing about that. It did give a clear message about patriarchy. That patriarchy is bad for everyone. It was exceptionally clear about that. Most of the movie had nothing to do with Barbie. Really bad acting at times, corny jokes, random things that make no sense like how Barbie was a giant at the beginning, extremely cringe sexual jokes, bad script and story, etc. So this review is a lot. First of all, of course the movie that starred Barbie and was called Barbie had everything to do with Barbie. She was literally the star of the show. It was Barbie all the way down. The acting was actually pretty impressive. I think there's a very good chance that we are going to see both Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling nominated for Oscars later on this year, if the Oscars actually happen because of the strikes. By the way, support your local film union. Disgusting political agenda. Ah man, this political agenda is just so disgusting about how, like, people are all good and equal and should be treated fairly, and that we should get oppression out of the way, and that oppression is bad, and oh God. Oh, that's just so disgusting. Every time I think about a woman being a doctor, I kind of just throw up in my mouth a little bit. Oh, this disgusting political agenda. It just turns my stomach. I'm nauseous now. Oh, why can't the Barbie movie be anything other than a disgusting political agenda? Like, why can't it reinforce the way that I want the world to be, where women are subjugated into secondary roles in society and aren't allowed to do anything? God, why can't we just have, like, Barbie Taliban edition? That would make my life so much better. Aw, geez. Instead we get this disgusting political agenda. Aw, my tum-tum hurt. Shut the up. I like this movie. The rating is for the lady sitting in front of me. You ruined the whole experience. I hope I never step foot in another movie theater with you ever again. So obviously this is a stupid rating to give Barbie because of what someone else did at a movie theater. The movie has nothing to do with that. But I am going to take this opportunity to give a shout out to the woman who is sitting in front of me at the movie theater, who, at about 10 to 15 minutes into the film, politely walked over to the stupid kids off to the right and asked them to be quiet. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate you, and if you ever see this, the next round's on me. Heinous. Should have counted how many times they said patriarchy and broke the fourth wall. I'm trying to think back to the movie right now, and I think they only broke the fourth wall once, when they actually said Margot Robbie's name in that one part of the film when she's crying. I don't think there were any other fourth wall breaks. Were there any other fourth wall breaks? Please let me know in the comments down below. I am desperate to know how wrong this person actually was. So this review is actually hilarious, because they start off by saying things like Barbie is pro-segregationist, anti-unity, borderline misandrist. But then they flip it around and say, I loved Barbie. I had the most fantastic time watching Barbie. I fully support the artistic achievements and social satire of Barbie, and on and on and on. The joke here is that they're worried they're gonna get canceled for their actual thoughts, so instead they're gonna toe the progressive feminist line, while also leaving their original comments here, making this whole post pointless and stupid. Disney-ass movie. Trust me on this. Disney could never. Leftist propaganda, very woke. Hey look everyone, it's someone pretending to be Ben Shapiro on Letterboxd because they think somehow that's a good thing. Please wake me up when this nightmare is over. Okay, I really watched it this time, I was right. I can only assume that this person originally rated the film without having actually seen it, which, as we all know, is one of the worst things you can do on the internet. I implore you, please, do not be like this person. They are a petty bitch. Man-hating, selfishness, feminist garbage. The only part worth watching was when Barbie asked Ken at the end, what is Ken without Barbie, who is Ken, and what does Ken want for Ken? This movie was disgusting to equal rights, and you females talk equal rights should be ashamed of this movie. So despite this review having some of the worst grammar I've read all day, and this person obviously being an incel, I think it's actually kind of hilarious how they managed to miss the entire point of the film, especially when they highlight the part of the film where the message becomes clear. In the first part of the film, Ken defines himself as someone who needs to get Barbie's attention. He is nothing without Barbie. He is nothing without the urge to possess and to own her. It is then when Ken gets into the real world and realizes that patriarchy exists that he starts to latch on to all of the signifiers of that patriarchy. He starts to bring those possessions into his life because he doesn't really know who he is outside of someone who wants Barbie. And that's when we start getting all the jokes about horses and mini fridges and The Godfather and etc. It is then at the part of the film that you point out in your own review that Ken begins to realize that he needs to figure out what he wants outside of the things that he feels like he should possess, or that he must possess, or that he is entitled to possess, like Barbie. So in fact, this film does not hate men. It is actually in giving them an instruction booklet to follow in order to improve themselves. But hey, don't let that get in the way of your hatred, I guess. Obviously made for women, as a man, this movie sucked. Obviously not made for only women, because as a man, this movie was pretty good. This film was abysmal. Tried too hard to be funny and overhyped. The plot contradicts itself. Please, let me know how the plot contradicts itself. Let me know in the comments how the plot contradicts itself. I would love to know how the plot contradicts itself. Barbie solidifies my reasoning for seeking my movie enjoyment elsewhere many years ago. So many years ago, you decided that Hollywood films were not entertaining for you, but then you decided to give it another kick at the can by watching Barbie in theaters. Yeah, I'm not buying that. After seeing Oppenheimer yesterday, this is just a movie trying to seem intelligent and meta, but even Matrix Revolutions worked better than this. No. So basically, Greta Gerwig could remake Triumph of the Will, and the people here would give it 5 stars. What is this review? Because, like, yeah, maybe if Greta Gerwig remade Triumph of the Will, people would give it 5 stars, because Greta Gerwig is a talented director, and I'm sure that she could even take a Nazi propaganda film and make it into something entertaining that absolutely destroys Nazis. That would probably be pretty fun to see. Trash. This movie shoves an agenda and a narrative down your throat every scene. And the thing that I just find funny about this is their use of the word narrative. Like, yeah, narrative films exist. They're the most popular form of cinema. So the idea that a film would have the audacity to, like, display its narrative in every scene is somehow a bad thing to this person. It's kind of a no Sherlock kind of moment. And wokeness. If I had to take a shot for every time I said the word woke in this video, I would be dead. Serious about you liking this video. And if you would like even more review roast, please click on that one. I definitely recommend it.